So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. You already know what it is. You already see the first slide. Let's get into it. No foreplay. Ni hao, motherfuckers. Ni hao. Let's get into it. All right. How communities can help and or kill their games. These are facts. Everyone's gather around, sit down, the back of the class. Hey, no chewing in class. How many times do I have to tell you no chewing in class? Robust, sit down. Megasphere, stop talking. Stop talking so aggressive over there. You, aggressive pixels, Megasphere, you sit in two separate corners, all right? I'm tired of telling you. All right, let's continue. All right. How communities help and kill their games. Okay, so we're gonna start this off with a story. We're gonna start this out with a story, okay? What do you mean some supply teacher, bro? I'm the main teacher. What are you talking about? Let's fuck around. Fuck out of here, no supply. So I went on to Virtua Fighter Reddit. Some of you motherfuckers are already like, hey, yo. You went on to Reddit, you fucked up. You already fucked up. But yeah, I went to Virtua Fighter Reddit because I had a question. I had a question, right? It was actually a pretty good question. It was basically like this. When I first started playing Tekken 7, there were guides that let you know each character's like 15 most iconic moves, right? And it let you, let's say you hadn't decided who you wanted to play yet. By looking at these moves and having little write-outs as to why they were important, why they made the character stand out, it could help you understand whose tools did you want to play, right? Because there's all these characters in the game, and there are these little primers on like this guy and then this guy. I thought, actually, if I could produce a little document showing all of the like this character has this amazing tool, this character has this much, like, and you know, Dragunov has the running 2, which is a great advancing tool, gives you a lot of plus frames, you know what I mean? This other tool, this other character has this tool. Like, I thought it'd be a useful document to produce, and there wasn't like one for that in Virtua Fighter. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll go to Virtua. I actually have some connection with some of the pros, but let me go to Reddit and ask more broadly for people's advice and their thoughts. Like, what do you think should be on the list for Kage? What do you think should be on the list for Leifa, right? That was my thinking, right? I want to produce materials for the broader community of Virtua Fighter because I'm new here and there's a lot of things that it doesn't have that I think it should have. And, you know, rather than complain about it, I'm just going to go and make it myself, right? That to me seemed like a mature approach to this problem. Bro, when I tell you that the Discord, that the Reddit flamed me, bro, these niggas fucked me up. I'm talking downvotes, I'm talking down talk, I'm talking ridicule. These motherfuckers cut me up. Guys, let's take a look. So here's my post, right? Here's my post. I don't think this post is unreasonable. Right? Hey guys, I'm looking to make a bunch of tutorial content for new players entering our VF when Revo drops. I'd like to put together a document showing each character, what they're about, what their game plan is, and what are the 7 moves that best illustrate their strategy/game plan. What is their equivalent to Guile Sonic Boom or Kazuya's Electric Wing God Fist? Let me know your answers below, and if possible, maybe write up a little description as to why the move is powerful. I'll be sure to give credits in the final product. Thanks in advance. I don't think anything I typed there was unreasonable, right? I think it was fairly polite. I think it's fairly positive. Full disclosure. Let's read some of the comments, shall we? Let's read some of the comments. You want to have fun? Let's read some of the comments. All right? Let's go down. Serious question. Do you feel that you are positioned to create tutorial content for the game? Which characters do you already know well to answer this question yourself? I think tutorial content for the community is great. However, I do think it should be made by people with the requisite knowledge to create it. This was actually one of the most reasonable takes. Very reasonable. It's still a pushback, but like, you know, like, nah, no noobs. Cool. All right, next one. The Visceral Canvas writes, tutorials are better written by people who know what they're talking about rather than someone who doesn't have a clue, who's just looking to take credit for other people's hard work and knowledge. 15 upvotes. Bro. Okay. It's a hard no from the Visceral Canvas, right? Hard no. Okay. Next one. VirtuaFire.com already has this for every character, so it feels weird and a waste of effort. It also feels kind of weird that you're making a guide for characters you don't already play. Okay. Negative. Not like viciously negative, but like, you know, kind of negative. But aggressive is already seeing where I'm going with this here. Motherfuckers, that's why he's asking for help. Bro, that's what I thought. okay? I mean, if you don't really know strong moves for characters, I don't know that you're the best person to be making the tutorial, right? This is like a consensus view. Now, some people gave me detailed answers, and I'm gonna come to them in a bit, because I don't want to pretend that everyone in the Reddit was being an asshole. But make no mistake, most people were, okay? Right? And later on, I had to give credentials. I had to say that I'm Chad the Third on YouTube. I had to give credentials. And then people started being like, oh, okay, you're a YouTuber who's already shown some love to Virtua Fighter. Okay, maybe I'll give you my time, right? But I don't think it's naive to say that I don't think I should have to prove my credentials before people answer my fucking questions. You know what I mean? I don't think, even if I was a nobody, I think people should be helpful. Again, some people gave me some useful links, some useful advice. And so I'm not gonna say it wasn't fruitful at all. But basically, there was a real gatekeeping attitude I found. So here's the first thing that I'm going to say in today's lesson, right? It's a very important part of this lesson. Right? Very important part of the lesson. Fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. There, I said it. If you take one thing away from this video, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. You might be thinking, hey, I'm new to Virtua Fighter. I want to learn where to go. Where can I go to like get into the game, to meet other people, to learn shit? Let me tell you where not to go. Fucking Virtua Fighter Reddit. You and me have beef now, bro. You and me have beef. Me and Virtua Fighter Reddit have beef. Every Virtua Fighter video I make going forward, and trust me, I plan on making a lot. The beginning of the video is going to be me saying, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. That's the start and end of every video. Don't get it twisted. And if you end up liking any of my Virtua Fighter videos in the near future, do me a favor, go into the comment and write, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. That's it. That's it for me. Some of you might be thinking, wow, Chad, that's kind of a petty way of responding. You're right. You're right. It's petty, but I'm a petty man. Okay, I'm a petty man. So I just want it on the record. From now on, every time I make a video, opening of the video is going to be ni hao motherfuckers, followed by, say it with me, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. Every single video. Don't get twisted, okay? Real talk. How many hours do I need to play before I'm allowed to ask Redditors for broader questions? In fact, here's a deeper question. How many hours do I have to play a Virtua Fighter before I'm allowed to make not just tutorial content, but like digestible content? Because let me put it to you this way, right? Let's say I have spent about 30 to 40 hours trying to learn Virtua Fighter, reading the Reddit, watching hour-long tutorials and multiple different tutorials from multiple different people, reading translated interviews from Japanese to understand how the highest level of the players at the highest level think about the game, watching streams from various pros and elites and asking them questions in the chat and like making mental notes of what those are, right? Let's say my exposure to the game has only been about, let's say 50 hours long, but I decide of my own volition to condense those 50 hours of learning into a convenient, let's say 20-minute video. Is that not still valuable? Even if my net time in the game is less than a month, right? If I've gone around ferreting information from a bunch of sources and I condense it into a single location so that other people who want to make the journey that I have don't have to go as far to get that information, is that not still valuable? Am I not still providing value? Do I have to win Evo? Do you know what I mean? When do I get to ask questions of a fucking Reddit? When do I get to make videos? When do I get to like try to share information with other people? When? Go back and read what I said. I didn't say like, hey, look, I'm gonna make a guide to turn you into a pro. Like, hey, look, there's a lot of people who are gonna be coming in and they're gonna be looking for like some level 1, level 2 information. I wanna produce that stuff. I want to produce it so that when people come into this game with lots of enthusiasm, they'll have stuff that they can consume and they can look at and they can think about and they can discuss and they can be a buzz. That was my intention. And the way that fucking Virtua Fighter Reddit treated me was wild. If I was younger, if I was more sensitive, if I was more like, I had like a more fragile sense of confidence, this would have shot me. I'd have been like, man, I guess I'm not welcome here. So I say it with my chest though. I say it with my chest. Say it with me. Fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. I say it with my whole chest. I'm gonna say it in every single video going forward. You've made an enemy this day. And you know what made it worse? You know what made it worse? It was on Christmas. It was on Christmas. I made that post on Christmas, cuz. I made the post on Christmas. And these motherfuckers flamed me. They flamed your boy on Christmas. Not on Jesus' birthday. Not on Jesus' birthday. Yes, on Jesus' birthday. These motherfuckers flamed me, bro. So I say it with my chest, bro. Not on the most wonderful time of the year. That's what I'm saying, bro. So for real, with my whole chest, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. I know every video going forward, that's going to be the beginning. And if you want to support me, right, and you're not in the place to support me financially, you can support me personally, by under every Virtua Fighter video, just leaving a nice comment that says, fuck Virtua Fighter. That's it. For the algorithm, for the algo, and for me, all right? Fuck Virtua Fighter, right? But my earlier point, I'm going to say, there's a place for gatekeeping. I understand, right, if you have a community that is small, and you have outsiders coming in, being like, man, your game should be more like Tekken. They should add rage arts. They should add Korean backdashing. They should make your game more like me. If people are giving you that attitude, if people are acting like that, then I can understand why you being hostile and trying to push them out, because they're trying to come in and change the way you're doing things. I understand that. I'm not saying there's no place for gatekeeping. There is. I'm not saying there's no place for being defensive. There is. But like, I literally was just like, hey, I want to make some content to help people. Fuck you. Only the experts should be doing that. Get the fuck out of our bar. So you know what? I didn't get the fuck out of that bar. I'm telling everyone else, don't go there. Fuck them. All right? Anyway. Next point. Why did I want to make this video that I talked about? Why did I want to make this sort of like top 10 best moves, top 7 best moves, top 15 best moves? Why did I want to do that? It's because I realized that there is actually no level 2 content for Virtua Fighter, or very little level 2 content. What do I mean by level 2 content? First of all, let's start with level 1, right? Level 1, you're interested in Virtua Fighter, so you watch a video from Ruffelmonger, right? You watch a video from Ruffelmonger, or you watch the video from the Blatted Salami, right? Or one of the other videos where they just quickly go, hey, here are all the characters in the game, and here's what they do. And those videos are fantastic. I've watched them like 5 times, right? For each character. They're really great. Little primers. This is what the character's about. This is what they specialize in. These are a few things to think about, right? Everyone who's interested, even passingly, in Virtua Fighter watches those videos, right? And they are wonderful. Here's the question though. What do you do next? What's level 2, right? What do you do next? This is where I realize that I think Virtua Fighter currently has like a real lack of data. Because let's say you're like, okay, I want to learn to play Vanessa, right? I've decided the character. I want to play Vanessa. And then you type in YouTube, Vanessa Virtua Fighter guide. There isn't one. You're looking for like a nice 15-20 minute guide just to be like, hey, look, this is what the character's about in a little bit more detail. I don't want the whole thing, right? We're still just working from level 1 to level 2 because it takes levels to kind of transition from being a complete noob who's a bit curious to I'm fully invested. You don't just jump right in, or at least most people don't, right? I did because I'm a loser. But like most people kind of want to edge their way in, right? So, but there's a real lack of level 2 content. And then the next level is fucking, VF.com and the wikis and like 3-hour-long tutorials, which by the way are amazing, but they're super in-depth and they're really only worth looking at once you are in. You know what I mean? Like once you're committed, sure, I'll sit down and watch a 3-hour-long video. Absolutely. I'll watch it twice. I'll watch this like long, detailed exploration of the fundamentals. I'll watch that. I'll go to the wiki and fucking and navigate my way through all these things, trying to figure out, okay, what the fuck is Yotaku? Okay, what is this stance called? Okay, how does this work? Like, I'll do that. But like, you don't start there. You kind of work your way there, slowly but surely, right? So it's useful to have level 2 data, and that's what I wanted to provide. I'm not trying to provide data that's going to take you to either. Just, hey, a little bit deeper exploration, right? That was my thought process, okay? And to be fair, it still is. These motherfuckers have not dulled my shine. But again, from the bottom of my chest, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit, okay? I want to give you a trading card game analogy. People who watch my channel know that I talk a lot about trading card games because I like them. Forgive me if you've never played one, but basically, I think of fighting games like this. Imagine someone comes to you and gives you a giant chest, like a literal physical chest full of trading cards. Let's say Magic the Gathering cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And these cards have been printed since they go back all the way back to like 1992 up to like literally last week. Tons of cards, right? They also then hand you a rule book, being like, okay, here's a rule book for the game, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, whatever, right? And then they go, have fun, kiddo. And you're like, what? Because I have to make a deck, right? But like, okay, I have all these cards and I know the rules in theory, right? Because I've read the thing, I've watched a tutorial, but like, how do I start to put these together? Like, do okay, it says I need a minimum of 40 cards. So does that mean I should just have as many cards as possible? Maybe a 100 card deck would be the best, right? Obviously, if you know trading card games, you know it's actually best to have it as small as possible to reduce variance. But the rules aren't going to tell you that, because that's not a rule thing, right? That's a meta thing that typically other more experienced players often have to teach you, or you have to observe, right? Or like, okay, I can have a maximum of 4 of any one card. So does that mean I should have as many cards as possible? Well, actually, no. It's often better to have like a copy of 4 of each of the cards, so that there's, again, less variance. So you're more likely to have the cards that you need in your hand at any given time. But again, that's the thing that you learn over time, right? The point is, there's lots of things that you need to know that aren't explicitly part of the game rules. And typically, a game's community would be the ones to inform you of those things. Typically. Either because you know each other physically in arcades, so they'll tell you what's going on, they'll beat you, and then they'll tell you how they beat you so you can figure it out. Or, in the modern era, YouTube, right? People on YouTube, okay? So, this was my thinking. Again, I just want to... I've fallen in love with Virtua Fighter. I want to make this work, so I want to figure out these sort of the soft meta rules, so I can introduce people to that earlier. The Rooflemonger slander, I'm not going to stand. So one of the commenters, if you go back and read that thread, one of the commenters was like, man, we don't need inexperienced people doing stuff. We already, like, basically was bitching like, even Rooflemonger doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I'm like, wait a minute. Rooflemonger is one of the biggest cheerleaders of Virtua Fighter on YouTube. One of the biggest. He's been shilling for Virtua Fighter since before it was cool. Like, for real, okay? And part of the reason I'm even here, making this video and telling other people to try Virtua Fighter, is because of the sort of, the small introduction that he gave me. Like, hey, this character seems cool for this reason, this character seems cool for this reason. But the fact that people on the Virtua Fighter Reddit, and again, say it with me, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit, they don't even have time for Rooflemonger. And I'm like, what is this? What kind of gatekeeping is this, right? And one of the issues they had is like, well, you know, he doesn't give you the broader context. Everything he does is like overly simplified or even to the point of potentially being misinformation. And I'm like, broski. His videos are entry-level videos. And when you're making entry-level videos, you have to remember that most people are not ready to have the whole truth at them. I mentioned this in an earlier video, something called Lies We Tell Children, right? Which is something I borrowed from another YouTuber called Rubbish. He made a whole essay about it. When you are introducing when you're introducing a child to mathematics, right? You tell them at first that you can't subtract 3 from 2 because 3 is too big. It's too big a number. You can't do it, right? And so they go, okay, because you're dealing with a small subset. And then as they get a little bit older, you go, psych, minus numbers. Check this out, -1, -2, -3. And all of a sudden the kid's like, whoa, like you blow them up. My point is, you don't introduce them to that concept at the beginning of math class. You understand? You give them a simplified version, as a version that not only is simplified, you might intentionally obscure broader, very important concepts, because we're not dealing with that right now. I'm giving you the information in a sort of narrativized form so that you can put it in your head, right? So you can start to build the framework from which the rest of your information would build, right? But motherfuckers will be like, man, I don't think you should be making character guides until you tell everyone about the fundamentals of P and 6P and 2P. Like, these are the real building blocks. And other people in the Reddit are like, It's like, bro, respectfully, real humans don't get into fighting games for the fundamentals. You get into fighting games for the dope shit, for the Hadoukens, the sonic booms, the hurricane kicks. You learn the fundamentals later as a way to set up the things you want to do. But when you get people in, you come through the door for fucking the electric wind god fist, okay? Like, for Russian assault, you come in for the big move, okay? That's the thing. So this is about trying to get new people in and show them reasons why they should love this thing, be interested in this thing, and get to the next level, right? These motherfuckers don't get it. So I will tolerate no Rooflemonger slander on my channel. No, sir. I don't know this person personally, but the content he's done and the support he's shown for VF, the fact that there's Virtua Fighter Reddit doesn't have time for him, say it with me, everyone. Fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. Okay. Next bit. Okay. But let's try to be somewhat fair to them. One of the things they said is like, hey, look, you should be leaving the content to the veterans, right? The people who should be making the guides are the pros, right? You have no business coming here mining our super large community for content. You know, when you make your Virtua Fighter guys, obviously millions of people are going to be watching it because there are billions of people just eager to play Virtua Fighter 5, Kappa, Like, so you have no business. Leave it to the veterans. And you're like, okay, cool. That's a good idea. Here's the problem though. Where they at though? Where they at though? Tell me where they at though. Where are the veterans? Where are they? Here's the thing. This is what I dub the monastery problem, right? VFNumbers. In part thanks to Roofermonger, 3 years ago he made the video. So like he made that video and I went off the I was curious. I was sold. I was like, this seems really cool, but I didn't have a PlayStation, so I couldn't actually play the game. So I started watching streamers and I stumbled upon VFNumbers. And this guy is fucking amazing. I'm gonna leave a link to his Twitch. This motherfucker, first of all, the nicest dude. You come in at any time of his stream, you ask him a question, he'll stop what he's doing, tell you about it, and he'll explain it to you in a great way. Even if he's not explaining stuff, just watching him play this game is fucking beautiful. He's a large part of the reason why I'm learning late. For real. The way he plays is inspirational. It's like controlled chaos. Really smart choices, really like bold choices in places, but also really conservative when he needs to be. Like, he has this style that's like really cool, and he'll talk you through his thought process as he's playing or after a game is finished. And like, he's such a cool dude, like a really cool dude. And I got a lot of comments in my last Virtua Fighter video, and one of them was from VFNumbers, and I was like shocked. I was like, damn, you're a veteran because you've been playing this game since forever, right? And so I went to back to his Twitch and was like, look, I've been a long time fan, I've been a long time lurker. Sometimes I just watch for 20 minutes and not say anything because what is there to say? This is just great. And I'm a huge fan, right? And he's like, no, man, I saw your video. You did a really great job of capturing the noob experience of like what it's like and what the game is. Obviously, there's higher level stuff that you didn't mention because you don't know it yet, but you did a really good job of grasping that, and I really appreciate that. There was nothing but love between us. And so I said to him, hey, respectfully, have you thought about making a guide? Like, I would love that guide. If that guide's 5 minutes, you will have 5 minutes. If that guide is 20 minutes, you will have 20 minutes. If that guide is 5 hours, you will have me for 5 hours. I'm watching that guide. Go as deep or as shallow as you want. I want to know your take on what advice would you give to someone who is new to Virtua Fighter and has decided to commit themselves on the path of lay, right? This would be great. And he says, I'm not really a content creator guy. That's not really my thing. Like, if you come into my Twitch, I'll absolutely help you. Absolutely. All the questions. In fact, if you hit me up on a personal level, I'll take time out of my day to like help coach you. He's that cool. He's like, on a one-to-one level, I got nothing but time for you, but I just don't have time to produce content. And I was like, okay, like I respectfully, I'm like, that sucks, because if not you, then who? But I'm like, I get it, right? Because life is short. We have to spend our time responsibly, right? And it's like, I just don't want to produce content. So I'm like, okay, cool, fine. Next, B Ninja 210. Bros. So another character I'm interested in is Vanessa. Lei and Vanessa. Trust me to go for like two of the most complex characters in the game, but that's just my nature, right? Those are the characters who stand out to me. So you type in Vanessa guide, but nothing comes up. So like, fuck, okay, let me try and find some Vanessa Virtua Fighter gameplay. So I stumbled on B Ninja 210. Let me tell you something. This motherfucker, he's funny. He's charming. He's a black nerdy in the classic sense. I feel like if I knew this person in real life, I'd want to buy him a beer. Like, he is super nerdy. He loves the game. He's super funny. When he edits his videos, he often edits like these little memes, nothing too crazy, like these little memes and stuff just to illustrate, to sell the point. When he wins, he pops off well. When he loses, he pops off even funnier. Like, but he'll articulate why he lost, like what he should have done. So it's actually a great resource for learning what you should do. And so he's a great one to watch. Dude, charismatic guy. I'm loving this thing, right? And recently he made a video on the recent balance patch, right? And he didn't just make a video like, okay, they changed this, they changed this, they changed this. No. He went through each move with Vanessa and like, hey, here's what the changes, here's what the implications are going forward. And I'm like, this is dope shit. So again, a couple of days later, I'm on, I'm in Twitch. I'm in and the thing is, the Virtua Fighter community is so small that if one person is streaming Virtua Fighter, you will see much of the Virtua Fighter comment section in that comment section, because they're a small community. They all know each other and they've all been playing for years. So you'll often bump into some of the most elite players in the scene just by hanging out in the Twitch chats. So B Ninja shows up in, I think it's one of Tricky's streams, and I'm like, yo, B Ninja, I'm a huge fan. I love your shit. You're really funny. Have you thought about making a guide for Vanessa? Because there isn't one. What does he say? He says, I've been thinking about it. He doesn't say no. He says, I've been thinking about it, but first I'm gonna make balance patch videos for the characters I play. But we'll see if I make a guide. But the point is, he wasn't committed to making a guide. And I was like, huh. And again, I didn't want to be pushy, because obviously it's his life. He can do what he wants. I'm like, damn. Just like with VFNumbers, I'm like, if not you, then who? Because it'd be one thing if he didn't have a cool personality, right? Some people are like really knowledgeable, but they don't have the charisma to maybe pull up YouTube stuff. But he makes content. It's on YouTube. He's already there, right? And he's charming as fun. So if not you, then who? So I'm like, okay, fine. That's another one. Shidosha. This is one I encountered literally a couple of days ago. Shidosha, Jeffrey player, funny dude, charismatic dude, charming dude, been playing the game for 1 billion years, very knowledgeable. I asked him a bunch of questions. He answered, he didn't just give me answers, but he gave me answers that were really well articulated, helped me understand, double check to make sure I understood it, right? Was active with the chat, fun to watch. Not only that, this guy has a better setup than me, better mic setup, better video setup. Dude's Mr. Charisma, okay? So I'm like, hey, yo, Shidosha, the advice you've given me while watching this stream has been great, okay? Have you considered making a guide? And he says, man, I ain't no content creator, man. I don't really want to be no content creator. I stream, I'll stream. If you come into my stream, ask me questions, I'll answer them for you. And by the way, he will, right? But like, I ain't trying to be Maximilian. I ain't trying to be 50X. And I was like, bro, you don't have to produce content like one new video every day. Literally, just a guide would help a brother out. Brothers out. But again, he doesn't want to, because that's not how he wants to spend his time. And I understand that. Believe me, I do. But the thing is, Tekken 8, Virtua Fighter has a monastery problem, where you have these elders, these masters, who are not only knowledgeable, but they're really like charismatic and good at explaining it, but they stay in their monastery. So the only way you can get data from them is if you go to their monastery. If you happen to be living in the same time zone as them, or have a fucked up sleep schedule like I do, right? And then you're online at the same time that they're online, you can ask them any questions, right? And they will give you nothing but their time. Part of the reason why my hate is localized to the Virtua Fighter Reddit, not the Virtua Fighter community, because everyone I've met in the broader community has been a fucking dream. They have been so helpful, like obnoxiously helpful. Like they are like, I'm so happy that you're trying to get people into Virtua Fighter. If you need anything, let me know. If you have anything, I'll coach you. If you need, and like people have, the love I have received in by making one Virtua Fighter video is obscene, right? It's obscene. It almost makes me uncomfortable, right? Like the Virtua Fighter scene is godlike, but the Virtua Fighter Reddit though, say it with me, everyone. Fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. There I said it, okay? But we have a monastery problem. These guys are only really willing, I should say, to kind of give you the information if you go to them. And that makes sense. When you're a master, you have the right to do that. You know what I mean? Pai Mei don't come to you. You go to Pai Mei, okay? If you want to learn the 5-point heart exploding technique, you have to go to him. I get that, right? But there's a lot of people who aren't that deep yet. Again, we have levels of this. And so if you're at level 1 or you're at level 2, there's nothing for you. And I think a lot of people are going to fall off. This is the issue, right? One of the few people who's actually come down from the monastery, I've already mentioned her multiple times, TrickyEileen, right? Even TrickyEileen, though, she was kind of scheming, right? I didn't realize this until recently, but I remember one of her earlier videos, she was like, I don't really give a fuck about Tekken 8, if I'm being real. I just want to start making content so that when the new Virtua Fighter comes out, I'm ready. I'm like, you know what? That's a long con, but we all know Virtua Fighter is never coming out again. I'm sorry. Well, then look at us. Now we're looking dumb. Now TrickyEileen's looking good, right? But the point is, she's one of the few people who's actually been like, I'm actually going to make content, like for beginners and intermediate, mostly for beginners right now. Like actually come down from the monastery. You don't have to be awake at the same time as me when I'm streaming. I'm actually going to make a bunch of lessons that you can watch. And again, I'm going to leave a link to her channel at the bottom of this, but you should already know by now because I mentioned it multiple times. But if you want to learn Virtua Fighter, there are a few people more knowledgeable and more willing to provide the data you need than TrickyEileen, right? But we need more though. Do you know what I mean? Like we need more people. And again, if the Virtua Fighter Reddit is saying that only the pros, only the veterans should make content, but the pros themselves are like just either they lack the confidence, they don't really think it's worth their time, or maybe they lack the time too, right? Because these people are older, they have shit to do, right? They have adult responsibilities. They don't necessarily have time to make editing videos. So I get that, right? But you see the catch-22 that I'm talking about, right? If only the veterans can make it, but the veterans aren't making it, then it just doesn't get made. Is that really better than a noob perhaps scraping wisdom from the veterans and making the content themselves? I don't think it is, but apparently so, right? And the advice that all of these people I mentioned talk about is they all talk about going to virtuafighter.com and the wiki, right? And to be fair, the wiki truly is a treasure trove of information that has been stockpiled over years and years and years. Much of it's still relevant, although some of it is now outdated, right? But like, it's a real treasure trove of information. And if you're willing to just do the reading, like I am, and like I have been, there is a lot you can learn. So it's not bad advice. But the thing is, the wiki is more intimidating than I think these veterans realize. I mean, for one thing, the website looks like it was made in 2012. Probably because it was made in fucking 2012, right? But it's a really like stodgy old school website, and you go through it and you're immediately presented with like relatively advanced terms that almost require you to look up other stuff. Like, what is Nitaku? Okay, I gotta look up what Nitaku is. And to be fair, it's an important concept and you don't have to go too far to find it. But it's another hurdle. Like, okay, what is this? Okay, cool. Even the act of, okay, press 66p. And I'm like, nigga, what the fuck is a 66p? What is 66? My controller doesn't have a 6 button. What the fuck is a 6 button? Now, I know some of you are already laughing because other fighting games, pretty much all other fighting games, except for the two most popular ones, all use number notation. But like, it's still a hurdle if you're a Tekken player, right? And again, if you care enough and if you're already a motivated learner, you'll sit there and you'll do the mental translation, right? You'll go, okay, 6, okay, that's forward, okay, cool. Okay, 9K, okay, that's, okay, up forward K, got it, right? You'll do that thing, but it's kind of, it is a stressor, right? You know what I mean? Like it requires more brain power for a casual person like me or someone who's new than is perhaps warranted if you're only at level 2, right? And again, some people might be like, well, fuck you then. If you're not willing to do the work, then I don't want you to learn. But I don't think that's ultimately wise, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that, yeah, we need level 2 content, and the people who I think are the best in the world to make it aren't making it. So what are we gonna do, right? And this actually brings me on to like essentially my final point of this little TED Talk, okay? Sometimes the players have got to carry the game. Daigo Umehara. This is actually something that I heard, what's his name? Margin Obama said, but he was quoting Daigo back when Street Fighter V came out, right? Street Fighter V obviously was not well received in the early days, but, you know, Daigo loved Street Fighter and he didn't want to see Street Fighter die. So he was very supportive and did what he could to support the scene. And this quote, I think, simplifies that. Sometimes the players have got to carry the game. The game doesn't just have responsibilities to you. Harada doesn't just have responsibilities to you. You know what I mean? Like the designers of Virtua Fighter don't just have responsibility to you. You actually have responsibilities to them, and perhaps more importantly, to the scene at large, right? And this is the point. This is the final slide, right? Dungeons and Dragons. Allow me to go on a brief tangent. You'll see why it's relevant in a second. I love D&D. I love D&D with all my heart. It's actually my favorite game. I think D&D is the most fun you can have with your clothes on. For real, for real. In another timeline, I actually have a D&D channel, not a Tekken channel, right? I love this game. And I have seen this game do things for people in their lives that you wouldn't believe, right? I have almost a religious love for Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop RPGs in general. But D&D has a problem in that the only way you can get into D&D is for someone else to pull you into D&D, right? This is the problem. You need someone else, typically, or a group of people to either show you the rules, show you the ropes, or at the very least a DM for you, right? So that you can actually play the game. The hobby only exists insofar as there are people willing to help to facilitate others to play. Because it's usually more fun to DM than it is to play. Most people, more fun to play than it is to DM. So most people don't want to DM. Most people want to play. But the paradox is the game only runs if at least one person steps up to the DM ship and actually like is the one to run the system. So you can be the adventurers and I will represent, the monsters. I will represent, if you're navigating the forest, I'll tell you what's in the forest, what to look out for, what you see, what you don't see, like whether the monster attack hit, you know what I mean? You stimulate the world while the others get to play Skyrim together with each other, right? So, and don't get me wrong, being a DM is a lot of fun too, but not as fun as playing. And one of my core tenets, because I love Dungeons and Dragons the way I do, it's very important to me that if I'm dungeon mastering for a group of people, I will often tell them, especially if I'm doing it for a long period of time, let's say I've been DM for a few months, I will tell them, hey, if you've had fun in this group, it's really important that you, at some point, DM for others. You know what I mean? You have to pass it forward. Otherwise, this hobby dies. And I have to admit, I do become a bit of a primary school teacher of just like, look, guys, I know you've had a lot of fun. And you don't have to DM for me. I'm your DM. I love you guys. But in the future, if you move to another town or you move to another table, you go to a different group, you got to be willing to pass this on. Otherwise, this game dies. And so what I have done for you, you need to be willing to do for others. Otherwise, this whole hobby dies. You have to take on responsibility, right? You have to be willing to pass it on. And that's something really interesting about D&D. Like it requires people to make a sacrifice in order to facilitate the game for other people. And you have to be willing to do that, right? And so my job as a DM is not just to give you a great experience here and now, but also to low-key teach you how to DM in the future. Maybe let you peek behind the curve. Okay, here's how I did this. Here's how I did this. Okay, you guys went this other way. But what you didn't know is that actually I made this other plan that would have gone this way. Or I'll be honest with you, even though I gave you a choice between left or right, no matter what happened, you would have just encountered it whichever way you went. And they go, fuck, I wish you didn't tell me that. But I'm telling you that because I need you to know what the challenge is, right? So you see where I'm going with this. If you love the hobby, you kind of have a responsibility to the hobby. That's my take, right? And I know that's very preachy, but like I do try to live by this myself, okay? Dark Souls is another great example. Let me tell you something. Dark Souls and that whole series is a fucking miracle, right? Think about how hard Dark Souls is, but also think about how little explanation Dark Souls gives you. I keep hearing people saying like, man, fighting games need to have great tutorials, man. Fighting games need to have great tutorials. And don't get me wrong, why not have a good tutorial? I'm not against having good tutorial, right? But this idea that if your game has a good tutorial, it'll do well, it's not true, bro. I played fighting games, but the tutorial is fucking incredible. But like 6 people played the game. I also played a game that literally didn't have a tutorial, didn't have a replay feature, and also didn't even have frame data when it came out. That game was, of course, Tekken 7, right? So the point I'm trying to make is that you actually don't need the game to hold your hand, so long as you have a community who will hold your hand. Because the thing about Dark Souls is, everyone hit. Oh, hold on, let's see. Pierre, I need the guy for the first Dark Souls, not gonna lie. Pierre, listen to me. Everyone did. That's the point I'm trying to make. Everyone needed a guide. That's the point I'm trying to make to you. No one picked up Dark Souls on their own and just figured it out in the game. Everyone was like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? You go to the wiki, you go on YouTube, you type things out. You see other people also freaking out, trying to figure out what to happen. YouTubers go on video and be like, hey, here's how I beat the boss. Here's how the weapon system works. Here's how this works. Here's how this works, right? You have an active community. The game can afford not to hold your hand because the community does hold your hand. You understand what I'm saying? Dark Souls is carried by its community. If Demon's Souls, the first one, had come out before the sort of YouTube online guide sharing era, that series would have died. It was a time and place thing, right? Dark Souls is a series. You need people to help you understand the basics, right? And not only that, you need people to be excited about the game. Because when you see other people excited about the game, right, and they're loving it and they're having fun, and then you play and you get stuck, instead of going, this game sucks, you instead you look at the excitement on everyone else's face and you go, oh, okay, there must be something I'm not getting. Hey, can you explain this to me? Can you explain this to me? Can you explain this to me? Like, other people's excitement gives you the faith required to dig deeper into a hard game. You get what I'm saying? And the fact that other people have the advice is what allows you to make that transition from a noob to being better. And this is something that's really important for fighting games, right? Because if you don't want your games to get dumbed down, right? If you like your games being deep and challenging and complex, the more that you like that, the more that you care about that, the more important it is that you get off your ass and produce guides and help for noobs to come in, right? Because if you're someone like me who's noticed that most games have become fucking brain dead, right? They become super simple, right? Super simplified. Like every game is made for beginners. Every action game is made for people who have never played an action game before, right? Every game is made for someone like, even if it's your first ever video game, will help you out. Whereas Dark Souls says, fuck that. You need to have a certain amount of just gaming literacy to even have a shot at this game. And even then, that's not enough. You're gonna have to go and read guides because we're not gonna tell you shit. Fucking deal with it, bro. And the community's like, yeah. That's why you like it, right? It seems paradoxical, but like, if you want your fighting game to not get dumbed down and to not become a fucking noob fest, you almost have greater responsibilities to help the noobs get out of noobville, right? Because if, in the end, everyone's struggling with the game and no one has a place to go where they can conveniently learn what to do, one of two things happens. The game dies, or the devs go, well, fuck it, we have to make this game simpler, right? And I don't want that for any of the fighting games that I like, right? But that's kind of what happens. And again, even if you... Sorry, I'm rambling. I could be on this beat for a really long time, but you see where I'm going with this, though. Like, communities can fucking carry games. Carry games, okay? And also, them being... thanks for joining. Simerga the Persian? What up, Play? Like... What was I saying? Yeah, they can carry games, and also their apathy can secretly kind of kill games, or at least prevent the growth that they otherwise would have gotten. Because there's a lot of people who would have liked Dark Souls, right? Or let me put this, let me change it. Let me speak directly about Virtua Fighter. I think there's a lot of people who would love Virtua Fighter, but they don't know Virtua Fighter because the actual beauty of the game and the actual majesty of the game is kind of hidden. And you kind of need someone to hold your hand a little bit and show it to you. People often say with Virtua Fighter, man, it looks so stiff. Bro, you know what else looks stiff? Fucking Dark Souls, okay? Compare Dark Souls to fucking Devil May Cry, right? It's night and day. There's no cancels. It's not crazy. But the irony is, the stiffness of Dark Souls is actually what makes it like such a fun challenge, because you have to commit to each button press. Each button press is a commitment. It's a choice. It's a bet, right? And again, so it's like, yeah, looking at Dark Souls compared to like the flashy action games that came before it, even 10 years before it looked outdated as fuck. But when someone kind of explains to you, hey, look, here's a fat roll. And if you lose your armor, you actually get a quicker roll. But of course, if you get hit, you'll take more damage. And when someone starts to explain the trade-offs that are only made possible because of that relative stiffness, you realize, oh, that's part of the game. It's actually really great. But again, that beauty is not obvious. It's not obvious. You typically need someone to show it to you. Same with Dungeons & Dragons. You might like watch Stranger Things and be like, that seems like a fun game. But unless you have someone to actually sit down and explain to you the D20, how the modifiers work, and it also can do it in a charming way that isn't too overwhelming, unless you can have someone help your hand to get in, you're never going to play this awesome game. And again, I think there's plenty of people who want to play Dungeons & Dragons. There's probably people watching this video now like, man, I've always wanted to try, but there's no one to show me. There's no one to get me in. But you see the problem, right? You see the problem. Okay, next step. Tekken Grassroots. Okay. This isn't just a theoretical thing. Tekken did this for me. I got into Tekken, like I said, Tekken 7 had no replay feature, no frame data in the game, no guidance, right? But what it did have was fucking Eris, okay? It had avoiding the puddle. And it also had fucking level up your game. You know what I mean? It had Rip. And it had fucking MYK. And it had Suiken. Like, it had like people who were hardcore and they made videos, right? And Spaghetti Rip was making content long before he became like sort of the big commentator guy. Like, he was making fucking, hey, here's how you beat Eddie in Tekken Tag, right? He was making content to help people with stuff that they were getting stressed out about. Like, they put in the time, they put in the work, you know what I mean? Bubsy too. Like, that sense of like, hey, I love this game and I'm not just gonna play this game and struggle on my own. I'm actually gonna make content to help other people understand why I should get into it. And like, also you have people like Arsenal Tie, right, who would make like meme videos, right? Just comedy stuff, right? Stuff just to express the enthusiasm, because that's part of the community too, right? It shouldn't just be guides to tutorials. It needs to be like, hey, here's why we're here. Hey, here's why we're suffering. You know, part of turn my microphone down. Give me a second. Ooh. Part of like Mirio's appeal, I think, you know, Mirio the Tekken streamer, for me, is that he is so relatable. Because when I see his struggle sessions on ranked, I'm like, bro, I'm with you. I'm with you. He's just like me for real, for real. There's something about seeing like other people go through the stuff that you're going through in the game that helps build a greater sense of camaraderie. It's good to see. It's good to see. But again, there's a lack of that on YouTube, right? Sejam Slam and the Noob to Pro pipeline. Yeah, Sejam Slam has been great for Street Fighter. Like, Street Fighter is, to be fair, Street Fighter 6 is just an incredible product. Like, it's so well made, so it deserves all the success it got. But like, the Sejam Slam, like, hey, we're gonna get the pros to play with some people who are like fighting game curious. We're gonna teach them. We're gonna have this big old tournament. Like, that's a really good way to get people into games that they might otherwise not get to, and to pair up popular streamers with other pros. That's really great. That's the community leaning outside of itself and grabbing people in. Hey, idiot, get in the car. Like, hey, there's a party in here. Get in here. It's not enough of just like, hey, here's my temple, and if you want to learn, come here and I will teach you. That's great too. Don't get twisted. We should be grateful for that. The fact that the Virtua Fighter community is so awesome that if you come to them, they will give you their time. They just will, right? So long as you're respectful, right? And they have the time to give. They are just the best. They are honestly among the friendliest communities I've ever seen. But they're all secluded in their monasteries. And it's like, it's a real shame, because as you can tell from my enthusiasm, like, after playing Virtua Fighter, after giving Virtua Fighter an actual shot for literally 5 days, I was like, holy fuck, this is what I've been missing. And that's how I felt when I played Dungeons & Dragons. I played Dungeons & Dragons for the first time in like 2017, and I was so angry. So I'm like, man, if I'd known about this as a kid, I'd have been playing it since I was a kid. This game is so great. I'm actually angry that it's taken so long for someone to reveal the beauty of this game to me. I'm so pissed it's taken this long. And much like a religious convert, now that I've seen the light, I feel an almost divine calling to show the light to everyone else, because I would hate for you, dear viewer, to go for too long a time not experiencing the majesty of Dungeons and Dragons, or the majesty of Tekken back in the day, or the majesty of Virtua Fighter, right? Like this is kind of where my head is at. And so we need, I think, ideally, or let me not say we need, because who am I? I've literally been playing Virtua Fighter for what, 2 days? You know what I mean? Who am I to come into this community hot and then be telling you, okay, you need to start making videos, you need to start making fucking, meme stuff. Who am I to start making these calls? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do fucking anything at all, okay? But what I'm saying is, it would be cool if someone watching this did, right? Because maybe you're not one of the names I mentioned, but you have been playing Virtua Fighter for a really long time. You are very knowledgeable about the game, and you know how to make a video. Fucking maybe do it. You know what I mean? I'll support you. I'll support all the small Virtua Fighter content creators I can. Like every time I end a stream, you notice I literally go, is there a single person doing Virtua Fighter? Okay, cool. I'll pass it to them. Let your channel go. Watch my channel grow, right? That's my view, right? But you need that kind of community enthusiasm. And what you don't need is fucking Virtua Fighter Reddit. Everyone say it with me. Fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. There we go. Yeah, I've already alluded to this, but love equals responsibility. It is what it is. This is a broader philosophical thing. But if you love a scene, if you really love a community, it's not enough to just consume what the community puts out. You gotta contribute. You gotta contribute, okay? If you love it, and again, this is true for Tekken players too. A lot of people shit on Tekken, right? But if you're one of the people who's really liking Tekken and you're like, man, I actually think there's a lot of beauty here that people aren't seeing, fucking make that content, man. Help people see it. That's what I did when I first started playing Tekken 7. Because again, remember, I started this channel when there was no frame data, no replay feature, no help. That's why I started the fucking channel, right? Because I'm like, nah, motherfuckers are gonna need the help, right? And I was a noob at that then. I was a noob, right? Virtua Fighter Reddit would not have tolerated me. What did I know? But I knew enough, right? Because I had spent 100 hours, right? And I was like, okay, it took me 100 hours to gain this information. Can I condense this information down into a 20-minute video to help other people get to where I am faster? If so, then do it, right? That's cool shit. I made a TikTok to spread more horror and love. Bro, if I was a TikTok guy, I would too. I don't really know much about TikTok, but that's what it's about. You gotta show love. You gotta show love. Impossible dealing with the Xiaoyu problem, bro. Blackheart, not now, bro. Blackout. My arch nemesis comes into the chat. Fucking much love to Blackheart. But yeah, Good Samaritans and small channels. I wanna end this on a positive beat, because even though I showed you the Reddit of me getting flamed on Christmas, on the Lord's birthday, there were some people in the chat who actually were really helpful, right? And those people to me are more representative of what the Virtua Fighter community, broader community is. There was one person, there's one woman who kind of came through and was like, hey, have you seen this video? And she linked me to like the 3-hour-long tutorial, which is pretty intense. But at the same time, I had already watched it twice, right? But the fact that she was like, hey, instead of bitching at me, like, hey, here's some advice that might be useful to you. I really appreciate that. Shout out to you. You're godly. Truly, you're godly. There was another motherfucker who literally started, I asked for like 7 top 10 moves, top 7 moves. Some motherfuckers started listing all the moves that they could think of the top of their head for all the characters that they played and liked, and wrote really detailed description like, this move is important for this reason, this move is important for this reason. This motherfucker leaned the fuck in, and I'm like, you are amazing. I fucking love you. You are godlike. So even in the Virtua Fighter Reddit, although fuck the Virtua Fighter Reddit, there are clearly good Samaritans and good people. And I encourage you, dear viewer, even if you are not a content creator, to be a good Samaritan, right? If you see someone ask a question, maybe don't be an asshole. Maybe provide help, okay? Or if someone asks a question and you don't want to help them, maybe just shut the fuck up. That's valid too. Maybe you see a noob asking about making tutorial advice and you're like, this motherfucker doesn't know what he's on about. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna say anything. That's valid too. Maybe don't just step on people though. You know what I mean? Maybe don't shit on someone who's relatively new to your scene and is eager to spread the good word. You know what I mean? Maybe don't do that. You dicks. Fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. Oh, I'm so angry. I'm so on Christmas, bro. Ooh. But also, you gotta support small channels, right? I've never done this before. But what I'm about to do is really important to me. There's a channel, it's a Virtua Fighter channel, Wireman FGC. Listen to me. If you have watched the Blatted Salami's Virtua Fighter video, there was probably a British voice that you heard, right? There's probably a British voice that you heard doing some of the narration. This was Wireman FGC. He has a really small Virtua Fighter channel, it literally has less than 800 subscribers. And yet, the tutorial advice that he gives, the detail that he gives, is fucking phenomenal. And the fact that he has not broken 1,000 subs breaks my fucking heart. Because I don't know if you know this, a bit of insider baseball. In order to make money, you need to have 1,000 subs and you need to have a certain amount of watch hours. I don't know how many watch hours my man's got, but like the fact that he hasn't even broken 1,000 subs kills me. Because there are other channels, I'm not going to name any names, but there are other channels that just spread fucking drama and gossip, FGC gossip, but it's not really useful. Or they give very shallow FGC takes. Whereas this motherfucker literally went all the way back to Virtua Fighter 4 to look at all of the tutorials in one of the greatest tutorials of all time, and then told you how you can recreate them to practice in Virtua Fighter 5. Wireman FGC loves the game, and he put his whole fucking bussy into it, okay? He really did. And the fact that his channel has only got 700 or whatever views, or sorry, 700 something subscribers, is fucked up. So right now, you need to go, anyone watching this video, as a gift to me, as a late Christmas gift, early birthday gift to me, if you appreciate what I've said, and if you believe what I said about the need to show love and enthusiasm in a scene, if you love a game, or if you're just someone who wants to learn Virtua Fighter and is looking for some good content, go to Wireman FGC, subscribe, right the fuck now, okay? Hit the like button, leave comments, tell him I sent you, and also, you know what? Let's have some real fun. Not only should we subscribe to Wireman FGC, let's push him over 1,000 subs, but more importantly, under every video you watch, type in all caps, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. Say it with your chest, bro. Help the algorithm, help me, help Wireman FGC. The world will be a better place if you do it. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. So yeah, go show this motherfucker some love. He's top tier, and he doesn't have top tier numbers, which is fucked up. There's no justice in the world, okay? So yeah, go show him some love. And yeah, I too, despite the warnings of Virtua Fighter Reddit, I too plan to make my own series, right? And again, I recognize that I'm not a fucking pro. It's going to be a VF Noobs companion. It's going to be me documenting me trying to learn the game. What I have learned so far, the things that I think are worth focusing on, right? But again, with a caveat that I could be wrong, and I invite pros if I say something that actually is, if I seem to be going down a wasteful path, I encourage people to come in and correct me, and first to correct each other. You know what I mean? And anytime I learn something new, I'm gonna add it to there. I'm gonna try and, you know, edit it into a decent guide to help people out. I'm also gonna vent our frustrations and give each other an avenue to get good. You know what I mean? Fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. I'll make my own Virtua Fighter Reddit with hookers and blackjack, right? Like, we'll do our own thing. Fuck them, right? But like, yes, I'm planning to make my own series. So yeah, be sure to show that some love. And again, if any of those videos pop for you, if you like those videos when I make them, be sure to do me a favor by saying, say it with me, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. That's the motto. That's honestly, if I go to any Virtua Fighter video and it says, hey, you know, this is great content. Also, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit, my heart will blow. I want this to become a catchphrase, bro. You picked the wrong one, Virtua Fighter Reddit. You picked the wrong man. You picked the wrong enemy, bro. Because I'm petty. I might not be powerful, but I'm petty. And petty is pretty powerful in the long run. I'm telling you that right now. I want this to become a Virtua Fighter catchphrase, bro. Virtua Fighter Revo. Man, this game is sick. I love this. Parentheses, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. That's me, bro. Let's start a fight. Let's start a war, right? But also, if you're going to be negative to the people who are negative, you're going to be positive to the people who are positive. Wireman FGC, go show him some love. And yeah, last but not least, fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. That's how I'm going to sign off on my videos. Fuck Virtua Fighter Reddit. Until next time, guys. Peace.